Are we ready? Okay. We'll call the meeting for the regular council meeting for Tuesday, June 20th to get order. If you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Any further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item is the consent calendar.
Mayor?
Yes.
I will make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
All those, or excuse me, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Next item is open forum. This is a chance for the public to step up and present anything that's not currently on the agenda if they wish to do so. So we'll open public comment. Seeing none, they'll close public comment. Nisswa Chamber of Commerce funding request, Pam Dorhan. Pam?
Oh, there we go. Hey, guys. First of all, I want to let you know that the downtown sound was going in today. I don't know if you noticed that when you were out and about, but we had talked about that at a past city council meeting, and the chamber is paying for that. And it's going to be awesome and should be up for July 3rd. Today I'm here to ask to see, I've been looking for sponsors for our July 3rd Freedom Days fireworks. It has been a challenge. The chamber funded it last year. I am asking if the city would be interested in a $2,500 sponsorship just because the pickle does so well that night and the city does so well that night. I'm wondering if they would co-sponsor the fireworks with the Nisswa Chamber. The fireworks are $10,000 and we would be asking for $2,500.
How much have you got how much do you have raised so far?
I have zero.
Zero.
Yes.
Okay.
When I started the fireworks last year, I just assumed that somebody would jump on and put their name on it, much like we do for the winter ones. I had a couple of promises and they fell through. I have funds to cover it until something changes but we need help.
Is there still a pretty good foundation that's covering the fireworks?
The foundation is not covering the fireworks.
Had they prior though for the ones at Thanksgiving? Isn't that?
No. That's the Lions and Rafferty's that takes care of that and has for many, many years.
All right.
Is it, and the city has their own display?
It's through.
No,
through
it's
the
a chamber.
chamber?
Yeah,
Through the chamber.
This
Yeah.
was a brand new thing last year.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
made sense.
we had all those people in town and we sent them off to different places. And so it seemed logical that I keep them. I just can't get a funding. We're constantly looking at maybe some kind of a fundraiser for it. If nobody ever does sponsor it, just asking for a little help.
What kind of response did you get from the businesses and stuff last year?
Great. They did great.
Okay, are they open late that night then, or?
No, but I think they will be now because we started the open late campaign,
Okay.
which is keeping downtown busy much longer on Friday nights. I think we'll see it happen on Saturday nights too. Hopefully during the week in the summer too.
Council?
Well, I guess I don't want to speak out of turn
Go ahead.
either or be a Debbie Downer, but when Sean and I were on a fire with the DNR this afternoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
this might be moot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's what I was wondering.
as of right now,
Right.
we would say no to fireworks anywhere in the
Yeah.
city, just because.
Sean did call me about that.
Yeah.
I agree with. I
Due to the
agree.
drought.
Yeah, I think
Due
it's
to the
a
droughts,
really
yeah.
smart decision. Yeah.
So
So if we
So-
don't have fireworks.
Yeah, so there has to be a pretty drastic change between now, and that's, coming not only from us, but from the DNR.
Yeah,
in this effort.
and I'm into it either way. I'm into the fireworks and we would have them at a maybe Fall Fest then. But either way, I don't get the 5,000 back. I'm 10,000 in, 5,000 down, and that doesn't come back. I'm not asking for you to cover that, but if the fireworks were to go on, that's what I'm asking.
So you already have the $5,000 down. You're gonna
Mhm.
put an additional 2,500. You're just wanting 2,500 from the city.
Yeah, and then so it would be
Don't have a
sponsored
problem
by
with
the
that.
city of Nisswa and the Nisswa Chamber of Commerce.
What have the businesses done as far as like sponsoring or?
They do a lot of different sponsorships, smaller. I have a $600 sponsorship for the magicians on the stages, for the parade, those kind of things. All those are filled. It's just this one big one. And I offered it split 10 ways. I offered it split 2 ways, 4 ways.
I'm
And
okay with
at our last board meeting, the board said, have you asked the city? And I said, nope, I haven't, but I will.
I would be fine with that.
Is this something we've done in the past ever?
No,
No. They
Never.
just-
this is, well, we've never had fireworks on the 4th of July in the past. We've always,
But even at Thanksgiving, we've never done anything for that. either.
No,
no.
I try not to ask.
We know.
So, yeah, I guess
I
I,
think
I see both sides of it,
if, as long as it, is okay by the DNR and the fire
It'd be-
department.
It'd be Sean that
If
would
they,
make that
if
call.
Sean said it's okay to go ahead with it, I have no problem going with that, $2,500.
But let me
For that,
clarify.
because we'll be some of that money back with the pickle and some, and, there's various ways that it will help.
But you, okay, so you've put $5,000 down, you're not gonna get that back. So if they don't go off on July 4th, you're looking at over Thanksgiving.
Or any other time I
Right,
want to
right.
throw a party.
So
I'm always up for it.
yes,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it rains a bunch this weekend, but they said it was supposed to rain last weekend too, so.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, what the precedent is like this from the city and.
Well, it would be a one-off right now. It would have to be a one-off thing. Then it would just be a matter of, I would just leave it up to the finance. The city administrator and the finance, but just figure out where they.
at 2,500.
They could take it out of unallocated funds. They could take it out of.
Yeah, not where it
perhaps,
comes from, it's just,
yeah, but it would be a one-time, I guess, it would be nice to see. If there's a way we can figure out what kind of return we're getting on that, you know what I mean? Like what the business is, what it's bringing into town.
yeah, I'm sure it brings
Yeah.
business into town, it's more.
I think you could
other
see it
folks
even
coming
in just the
asking.
pickle, how busy the pickle
funds.
was
Right.
last year on the 3rd versus the year before on the 3rd.
Yeah.
We need fireworks for the Jubilee.
Well, the Jubilee isn't part of the chamber's thing other than promoting it.
Right.
But right now we don't have we have 25,000 people in town. Jubilee, we have 800.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm okay for the allocation. I mean, that would be then okay to give to Jenny.
Is this a motion? Kiki?
Well, if
Not
you, just not yet, we haven't made a
We're
motion
just
yet.
talking about-
If you guys are good with it and stuff, I just, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a. The only other thing we would do would be to make something like that part of the budget in the
Right.
future, for a sub type of thing like that, but at this point, it would be a one-off. Preferably see if we could, if they can
Okay.
figure out a way to raise it, so I would
Yeah.
think it would be a one-off.
I'm in agreement with it. I think it'll bring
awesome.
added value, especially with the fact that it will be a one-time donation.
Yep.
So I agree with Mr. Mayor that we can look at certain avenues of funding for it. There's obviously a couple, perhaps some of the ARPA funds if it's applicable through the parameters of it, but outside of that,
Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess I'm not opposed to it. I just would say that I'd want to caution what we're doing, for other things in the precedent. that we're setting for the future.
That's right. I mean, it was similar to like the donation to the food shelf that we took
Mhm.
$5,000 from. That was a one-off, and we probably won't be doing something like that again in foreseeable future.
I'll make a motion that we donate, we agree to donate 2,500 towards the 4th of July fireworks in the event they can go off at this point. And with the funds to be with the city administrator and finance department to determine where to take the funds from.
With the understanding it's a one-off.
Yes, with this, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is department presentation. Parks Department.
Where'd you jump to?
All right, good evening. We've talked at length about stuff in Parks and Rec here, but there's still more that we do. So I'm gonna try and highlight a few of the things that we've worked on over the past year. Up on your screen here is a program summary. So I try to run at least 16 programs a year, so about 4 a quarter, and that's kind of the minimum I shoot for. So you have an example up there of the programs that we run and the participation that we have. So we run hockey, basketball, a lot of sports, soccer twice a year, baseball, tennis. We do some adult fitness classes. We have a very popular program with our Safety Town program.
Dining etiquette.
Dining etiquette, parents love that one. So you can see an example of the classes that we have. And then a snapshot of our warming house. So this year we actually lost ice early February. We were only open 40 days, which was 20 days less than last year. But our total users and our concession sales were higher this year. So that's just a little snapshot of what we ran over the past few months in terms of programs.
Amber, is that picture?
Yeah, I took it
From-
from you. That's the night
I
we
was gonna
shoveled.
say that picture looks familiar.
Yeah, that's the night we shoveled the rink off.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You'll
My,
never forget.
My Apple Watch said I burnt 1,000 calories that night. And
So here's an example of some of the pictures from our different events. Big shout out to Nisswa Fire Department, Nisswa Police Department for participating with our Safety Town program. We actually partner with over 15 organizations, and I work with over 20 volunteers every year just to bring these programs to Nisswa. So it's something we're pretty proud of to with a little staff team to be able to provide all these opportunities for our youth and a few adult senior fitness classes and things like that. So very happy to offer these things on top of everything else that we have. For the community center, you can see a little snapshot of the user groups that we have. Mostly the rentals are birthday parties, showers, either bridal or baby showers, graduation parties. And then we have a lot of community organizations that use it, a lot of nonprofits as well. When it says classes, those are the fitness classes that I run year round. So those are our primary user groups, and then obviously Run for the Lakes and the Firecracker Run, things like that are housed out of there. And then Time for Play is our youth program for 0 to 5. So that is a drop-in indoor play that helps fill some of the time in the winter over there. So it's a snapshot of what that building is used for. And then lastly, the thing that we've been talking most about are our long-range plans. So we were able to do the master plan last year and you guys approved that plan in February. And since then, we've really been talking about a lot of our different funding strategies and how we can make this come to fruition. We do have aging infrastructure. The hockey rink is kind of what's kicked off a lot of this process. coming due for replacement as well as our playground. So we're still at the point of trying to figure out repair, remove, replace, and just depending on when that funding timeline, how that adjusts might dictate which one of those options we move through or combination of that.
A note on the Cambligan parcels in regards to the actual path. Just out of curiosity, I live near there and I biked over there and I actually walked the entire path in yellow. It would be phenomenal. It would be a very beautiful, scenic, peaceful, quiet area.
Yes.
So it was nice to have a good visual of it outside of just looking at an aerial map or a plot of it. So it's pretty interesting seeing that perspective of Hole in the Day Lake.
Yeah, if you can get out there and find the path. It's very helpful to find the path because it is lush through
Very.
there, but it does give a whole new perspective as to what could be. So
Mhm.
we are still working through all of this, as you guys well know. And then big big undertaking this year is the Gull Lake Trail. So that is progressing very well. The upside of not having rain is they're moving right along. So this still continues to be a major project, a major part of my workload, as well as all those programming and community centers and field rentals and all those things. But I do want to say a big shout out to the park maintenance staff as well as public works that helped support all of this happening. Certainly won't be possible without them, as well as the volunteers in the community, the organizations that support us. None of this will be possible without any of them. And then your guys' support as well. So I do want to say thank you to everybody that helps Nisswa Parks and Rec get through their days and provide an awesome service to the community. Happy to answer any questions.
Anyone? No, we're good.
Awesome.
Thank you, Amber.
Thanks, Amber.
Yeah. Okay, next item is reports, city administrator report. You all had a chance to look through that. If there's any questions, is Jenny online? Okay. So
I am
Jenny
here.
is
Can you hear
online
me?
with us, so if you have any questions for her.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So just want to say hello, good evening, City Council. Greetings from Duluth. I'm here. My report's in the packet for you, as well as a couple of additions regarding legislative summary information for your reference. We'll keep updating that information as we know more about how to implement some of the new legislation. Otherwise, I am happy to answer any questions you have and or answer questions throughout our new business tonight. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for the city administrator? No.
Oh, so
Nope.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the city attorney, who is not with us today. He had a conflict there. So, city engineer.
I don't have anything right now, but I'm.
Very good. Okay, that brings us to new business. First item on the agenda is the Juneteenth holiday resolution.
perfect timing as it was yesterday. I will make a motion to approve the Juneteenth holiday resolution as presented.
I'll second that.
And this will be an annual holiday. So,
Legislated by the state.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next item is an ordinance amendment for planning and zoning. Bethany.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Thank you, City Council. At the May 2nd, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, it was discussed that Chapter 20, Section 83, Principal Residential Structure Size Requirements should be amended to remove the requirement for a conditional use permit and include specific reasonable conditions for principal residential structures over 4,500 square feet. The proposed amendment removes the requirement to obtain a CUP while continuing to ensure that negative impervious and visual impacts are mitigated. In addition, the amendment clarifies that the provision applies to 4,500 square feet of ground cover. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this ordinance amendment at the June 6th regular Planning Commission meeting. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions?
It has no square footage requirements in, right? Just take it out and leave it open.
As far as what?
Like somebody wants to build a 7,000 square foot house, that'd be fine then without a CUP.
As long as they meet all impervious requirements and
All
all
the
other
others.
requirements
Yep.
that we have in our code of ordinances, yes. So there's other safeguards in place, right? You've got setbacks, you've got impervious, you've got all of those. But yes, if somebody came in and wanted to build a 7,000 square foot ground cover home, they would be able to do so. However, order over 4,500 square feet of ground cover, we require these additional things. So we did include that they would need a stormwater management plan, just to make sure that they're not having runoff into neighboring property, into road right of ways. If they are on a lake, that they're not having excessive water go into there. And then also that there should be a vegetative screening, some sort of vegetation screening between neighboring properties. And that would be decided by city staff.
Yeah, I just had a silly question.
Mhm.
What's the difference between the policy and an ordinance? Is ordinance enforceable, whereas a policy is not, or what's the difference there?
Ordinance is enforceable, absolutely.
Yeah, enforceable, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion unless there's other questions for Stephanie.
I'd make a motion to accept the new ordinance as written.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Ryan, can we please have a motion to publish the summary ordinance in the newspaper?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to publish the new ordinance in the local paper.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I gotta start remembering that.
Always forget that. Request from Parks Department reference trail user policy. Amber.
Yeah, so you guys have a memo in your packet, as well as a copy of proposed trail use policy. I'm happy to answer any questions on that. Both the Parks Commission and the Gull Lake Trail Committee have reviewed this policy, sometimes at length. We have gone over it. So definitely looking for any feedback from the council at this time in terms of if there's a different direction you would like to see. Or if this is all acceptable and we're ready to implement.
The only question I had for you is, I guess I never thought about snowmobiles using the tunnel. Could two
Oh, yeah.
snowmobiles even fit in the tunnle?
Yes.
Yeah,
The tunnel, yes,
They do it all the time already.
Okay.
yes, tunnel that is already used by the snowmobilers. I think a larger part of that concern was just their tread on the concrete. The other concern is the space of the switchback.
A thought that was presented during the Gull Lake Trail steering committee meeting. Pertaining to the notion of perhaps installing a bollard, a removable bollard.
Yeah.
To have there be seasonal, so it would obviously prevent a snowmobile from being able to go in. Kind of thought about that more after Roger brought it up. And I really don't have any objection to it. If it was feasible for it to be anchored. 4-point anchors to be able to have the bollard installed there, then we eliminate that risk, because then they go up through the landscaping. I know it's a small switchback, but on the other end going into Nisswa. It would prevent that. I think that notion is.
Where
not
would you
too bad.
install it?
The
On the steps?
opposite side, towards the lake.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, the west side of 371,
Hazelwood side.
Hazelwood side,
So
just a single bollard. I've seen them before where they're just, it's got a more or less like a 6x6 base plate on the bottom, 4 drill points, and you self-tap anchor and you can take it off nut by nut.
Yeah, so this policy is proposing that both golf carts and snowmobiles will be prohibited from using the tunnel and the switchback. Pending how that goes tonight and what we ultimately decide, we can certainly put in a physical barrier. And then if that is the case, we would need to sign and direct which way we would like them to go, as well as probably produce some maps and things like that for the chamber, for the website, just so we can notify the public as to how traffic is to move.
Yeah, I
By
guess.
state law, snowmobile would have to cross that, will they have to cross?
Everybody
at
would
the
have to cross
intersection?
at the light.
Mhm.
Close to,
Yep.
close to the trail then at that point too.
Yep,
However, I will say that intersection and that light was not designed for that traffic to cross there.
but state law is always stipulated, that's where they would have to cross, especially a 4-lane road. So there might have to be a modification in the future to allow that, maybe even.
Yeah, I
Maybe
guess
further up.
right now we're putting this new trail in that's gonna direct everyone down there. And then direct them to what I would call a potential hazard at crossing the highway at the stoplights because it's not set up for that.
Oh.
I would see us, actually doing something unsafe for the community to cross there. I do not believe that is a good idea at all to direct those people out to that intersection. There's already enough confusion there with the way they have it set up with the new blinking arrow right now. I mean, it's also a common intersection still that we go to many traffic accidents and wrecks. And now to introduce more golf cart and snowmobile traffic that way. I mean, yeah, I don't think that would be a wise decision for us to do. I understand that, there might be some more maintenance involved with the trail, but coming up using that trail, that was the whole design to get people from one side of the highway to the other, no matter what we're going to do. And so if we have that trail there and all of a sudden you come to the dead end and you can't get into town, I don't know, I guess, the trail right now for however many years it's been in has been used every single winter by snowmobiles. I mean, I myself have gone through there countless times on a snowmobile.
I would say, given how many years snowmobiles have been going through the tunnel, I'm not seeing a significant amount of wear
Right,
in that structure, so that's not as much my concern. When it comes to golf carts, we haven't seen the influx of golf carts coming through there as much as we've seen years of snowmobiles. And so one of the questions, if 2 golf carts were to meet on the switchback, that's also a safety concern, but there's a safety concern both ways, whether they're crossing at the light or they're meeting at the switchback. And so for us to decide
Yeah,
I would.
which
Right.
way we want to go with
I
it.
actually would have to rescind my comment and agree with Joe thinking on it, on that note. Having somebody go cross on the lights, if it was constructed to be more accommodating for that flow of traffic, different story.
So
What's
snowmobiles,
gonna instigate us to make a change though at some point,
Yeah.
either or?
snowmobiles are permitted to be on the trail, golf carts are not as well. So we gotta make that distinction for the public as they come through the public water access. They're actually not to be on that trail. They would have to still maintain driving on the roadway through there. And so that is dictated by our funding agency. So it's a matter of where the trail ends. They can still get on the road to the tunnel.
I guess something that I'd throw out there is I very much think we should leave the trail open for snowmobiles in the wintertime. With the tunnel going through there, but we have that park down there, Can we put in some parking spots in that park for the summertime for golf carts to park on that side and then walk through, and we'd actually put the pylon in the summer and take it out in the winter and do the reverse of what we were talking about, and then park people at the park, have them use the park, have them walk across, I guess is what would make more sense to me. And if anybody wants to see afterwards, I can show you the video of the car that drove through there one night. So
Really?
I have seen it.
you have seen it? Yeah,
Yes.
I sent it up here to share with people
Yeah.
before, but
And if you're talking about golf carts, and you're heading east towards the roundabout, there is no shoulder there, so you have 371 turning in. And there's no shoulder, so it's
where's that at?
heading east towards the roundabout, coming off of the stoplight.
Yeah, correct. There is nothing there
But
for
the county doesn't allow golf carts on the county road.
They
Yes,
do,
they
They
do.
do.
it is
They do.
permitted, but it is a
If
tight
it's
squeeze.
permitted, but the
through
state
there.
doesn't allow them on the highway.
So just,
Correct.
if they can't go through the tunnel, that's still their access, or they park and they walk through.
Isn't there, didn't we get the parking lot? There was supposed to have been parking spots at the park, I believe, or it was at a. different-
They can certainly
like-
park on the grass there. There is no parking lot within Nisswa Lake Park.
So actually, I just had to pull up to refresh myself on it. Snowmobiles, it's not that they're not permitted. There's just exceptions to what can be done on the trail per this trail use policy.
Yes, they are permitted.
Can't exceed 20 miles per hour,
Yeah.
cannot have studs. It's almost in tandem with the Paul Bunyan, so.
A lot of snowmobiles are crossing where the trail crosses anyway.
Right.
They could still cross down there and get to the Paul Bunyan Trail down by Subway
We just got to the point during the committee meeting in regards to maintenance and plowing, and then it got into grooming. I mean, this trail obviously goes in front of many landowners' principal driveway to be able to get in and out of their home. What are they gonna do? Well, of course, they're gonna plow. The runoff from that plow is gonna create two berms, and it's gonna have berms all across, so it's. I don't think you've been approached by the snowmobile club or the Groomers Association,
Not recently. The trail is not signed as a snowmobile trail.
right?
So while snowmobiles are allowed to go on it because it is in the road right of way, it is currently not gonna be groomed. And it's not signed as a marked trail route.
Yeah.
You get the distinction between the two.
So it's almost, I mean, I'm not up on to speed on this, but it sounds as though the best method might be to not allow it to go through not allow snowmobiles to go through the tunnel as the current policy states. But then they would need to park on that grass area, even though it's not a,
Golf cart.
Golf carts.
Golf carts.
oh, this is just for golf carts?
Yeah.
But we're also talking about the snowmobiles. We can't go
Snowmobiles have been
through there.
going through there since it's been open.
And
And it's a- Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah. it's been going through since it's open, it connects with this other trail. I believe for snowmobiles, we need to keep it open for golf carts, so we could direct those to the park, to park there. Because also too, when they come into downtown,
Yeah.
all of a sudden now we don't exactly have golf cart parking in downtown either to fill up our vehicle parking
And-
spots.
I agree with that. I like that idea too, actually, but did I hear wrong? I thought the snowmobiles current policy is not to be allowed them to go through the tunnel.
That's what's written in this proposed policy as the Gull Lake Trail Committee recommended.
Oh, so they are allowed currently, but then this proposed policy
Correct.
not.
Correct.
Right.
And that's what I would think is a good idea, actually. And then they could park just like the golf carts would as well. and
Well,
then
you have
walk
some,
in.
well,
Yeah,
what
no.
the thing is some people will be coming up that back way and they'll want to get onto the Paul Bunyan Trail. So if they don't go through the tunnel, then what they're gonna have to do is come up Colonel Thorpe to the lights and cross. Now, I'll tell you, I have to do my U at Hazelwood, and in the winter, I got a lot of snowmobiles, especially on the weekends, shooting right across 371 at Hazelwood.
Right.
But
and-
it is I'd hate to have somebody have an accident there, get hit by a truck, car, whatever,
We have,
right.
Right.
So I think it would be beneficial if we leave that open for the snowmobiles to go through the tunnel in the winter and then block it for golf carts in the summer.
I have to agree. I think that's a good modification to the.
But what kind of damage? You said you haven't seen any, so what, have you seen anything at all that would indicate the snowmobiles are doing some damage?
No, nothing significant. Obviously, where people move through it, it's gonna have more wear. I did speak with Tom about this trail policy and specifically snowmobiles going through the tunnel, and he was not overly concerned with it.
Okay.
Um,
Could we throw, I know that they used to do it downtown at one point, they used to throw sawdust down on the
Mhm.
trail. And then the snow on top of it, just to prevent, I think they were worried at some one point or another, they were worried about studs and stuff, but they don't do it anymore. It's not that big a thing on the Paul Bunyan Trail, so I don't see where,
There's more wear at the roundabout where they come across than.
Right,
well, on
exactly.
the tunnel.
if they're following state law and they're gonna cross the highway, they have to cross at an intersection.
Right.
But if we give them the option to cross there, then it's.
Safety concerns.
I think that.
I think that makes
I
sense.
think that we're at a consensus of permitting snowmobiles to be able to
It's not a
traverse
problem,
through
why
there.
fix it?
Right.
And then golf carts will stay on the road and open up golf cart parking at Nisswa Lake Park.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And-
Yep, so that
So
would be.
that
the
would be
only-
it.
And so in the winter time too, there'd be less people, I would imagine, using that tunnel anyway, so
Yeah.
to let the snowmobiles go through that isn't a big deal.
And
And-
again, the enforcement's gonna be, like we discussed through the course of this, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. Based on the lack of actual presence, so
Well, yeah,
are you gonna tell Roger this?
Yes. I will send a follow-up with whatever happens tonight. I will send a recap out to
Sure.
Gull Lake Trail Committee.
And the thanks from City of Nisswa to the whole committee for the Gull Lake Trail. They've done a very good job and Roger's done a good job leading it, the charge on many fronts, so.
Is there any other questions
do you
or
wanna make that
comments,
amendment?
concerns on any other topic of this?
I can make the motion with the amendment.
Were there any other big topics of concern from that group writing this?
We had two meetings over the last couple of months to go over it literally line by line and word by word. The last thing that we need to kind of resolve is just a policy versus ordinance. And talking with Chief Taylor, we both thought it should be a policy at this time. The golf cart is an ordinance. And we believe that a lot of these things, if they were, there's a superseding law or ordinance that would cover a lot of these things if they were to be escalated to that level. But it is certainly something we could take to the city attorney if you guys had questions on policy or ordinance and which way you wanted it to go.
I think right now just stay with policy, and if we just see how it goes, and if there are any issues, then we can amend and go to an ordinance. It's my opinion.
What's,
Okay, it's
That would
just the
work.
exact line to strike.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the trail user policy as presented by the Gull Lake Trail Steering Committee with the exception to section 3 trail uses subsection D, the line and are prohibited from using the tunnel and switchback ramp in reference to snowmobiles.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then just whatever you're gonna need for but whatever you're gonna need for blocking, figure out, it's like you said, you're.
Oh, well, yeah, temporary bollard, I think that can be
Yeah,
determined
you
out
guys can
later.
figure
later
it
Yeah,
time,
we'll figure that out.
Okay.
if it's necessary or not.
Okay, item 4, request from Parks Department, Camp Lincoln Road quotes for engineering and archaeological study.
Yep, so you have a quote for archaeological services. This was the same company that did the Gull Lake Trail, so we contacted them first. As well as a quote from Widseth regarding some preliminary engineering. Reason why we went and asked Widseth for this is the archaeologist needs to know exactly where they are to go. So instead of, here's the 5-acre parcel, if we could narrow down by what we thought the estimated area of infrastructure would be, it brought the quote into something more tangible and realistic. And so in order to get that quote from the archaeologist, we would need engineers to shoot a center line for them to work off of. So that's why you have 2 quotes in tandem there. We did ask for just the parking lot, road and bathroom section, as well as the entirety, including the trails. The trails are estimated about 2 miles. And so you have both quotes in tandem. I'm happy to answer any questions on those.
Now, you mentioned that there is on the Minnesota Historical Society has a grant opportunity. What would that amount possibly?
It could
be?
cover the full amount of the archaeological. It is due July 14th, so it is right around the corner.
So that would be for these, the two quotes here.
It would be just the archaeological services. It would not include any of with us engineering,
Oh, I see. So this, phase one archaeological study.
correct?
And you do have do you have a sufficient funds on reserve with the Parks and Rec?
Yep, so we've been putting away, we have about 25,000 right now allocated for Camp Lincoln through the past couple of budgets. And then we also have our capital reserve that we've been working on for all of parks. So currently under what we have for Camp Lincoln alone, this would be covered under that. As well as the potential for the grant opportunity for the archaeological services.
Are we writing the grant?
Yes,
Yes.
me,
You.
hopefully,
Okay.
if I can get it in.
And if this doesn't turn up anything at this point, then that would satisfy both SHPO and TIPO.
Yep, I'm still trying to work through TIPO and get some of that information. All three state agencies that I've already discussed this with have not required a TIPO interaction, but just trying to get in contact with them to just notify them and see if there's anything that they want to observe the archaeological study or whatever they may need on their end.
And we have already sent that letter. I think you said that before, that letter to SHPO.
Yeah.
That they are aware that we're doing this and everything, right?
Yes,
So we set aside all their requirements so far.
I have reached out to SHPO, the state archaeologists, as well as the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council.
Okay.
And they all recommended a phase one archaeological study.
Okay,
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the quote for $6,258.78 for phase one archaeology study by Duluth Archaeology Center LLC, and also to approve a quote of $8,700 for engineering services by Widseth as presented.
I would second that.
okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, roundabout project change order number one.
I have one more.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry,
Camp, yeah.
Gull Lake Trail.
like trim. Oh, I crossed off the wrong one. Sorry. Okay,
All right, so this is regarding a proposal that is in your packet for grant writing services. This is for what is hopefully the final sections of the Gull Lake Trail. We're calling it a super application between Nisswa, Lakeshore, and Fairview Township. So the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission is who we received the 2.4 million to fund this phase of the Gull Lake Trail. All of us have received funding from them, and we only, because the Gull Lake Trail is one project, we can only put in one application a year. So in order to put an application in this year, either we all have to do it together or divvy it out some way. So this grant is due the end of July. And so you have a proposal there from Widseth to do the grant writing services for us, for Nisswa. The cost there of $5,000 to $6,000 is for Nisswa only. Lakeshore has already approved Widseth to do their grant writing. And then Fairview Township is also going to participate in this grant as well. So at this time, I'm asking you, first off, if you'd like to go for the grant, if we can approve having Widseth do the grant writing. And then secondary to that, if we do want to move forward with it, we need to start thinking about what kind of matching funds we would like to allocate.
on matching funds, what has been indicated in the past as far as, you know, what amounts, what percentages?
In order for us to get scored on our matching funds, the minimum is 5%. Based on kind of where I think our cost for that section, if give or take 700,000. Potentially, it's hard to guess, but we're kind of looking at 35,000, give or take. But 5% gets you a score on the grant. And so it's, once we kind of get an understanding of what the budget will be, as we start piecing all three together, we'll still only be responsible for Nisswa. But shooting for that 5%, maybe 40,000.
What is, do we know what Lake Shore is doing?
I think their cost is close to 2 million, and they're looking at putting in 80,000 in matching.
Okay. So they're 2 million.
Yeah, and ours, I would say, is anywhere from 600,000 to 900,000. Hard to tell because it's still 2025 construction.
I've looked at them so many times that there's so many different numbers up there. I'd have to look it up if you wish.
Bids came back, I'll say bids came back in the range of 510,000 to 714. And then when we estimated for the previous grant we applied for, which we did not receive, as a standalone project, we estimated 900,000.
Is there a portion of the trail that, I know there'll be a portion of this trail that will be going across ETOC property? Are they aware of that, or is it possible to use, if they would be willing to donate the land to us like they did before?
Potentially, I don't believe we have any of the appraisals or anything done like that.
Yeah. So,
So we could maybe get a letter of support or,
Yeah.
you know, an intent. But I don't think we'd have the supporting documentation in time. There are 4 properties along that section, 2 of which are ETOC.
Yeah.
That we still need the land acquired for.
Two separate motions.
yeah, let's do it 2 separate motions. Would be the.
And I'll be coming back in July with the final resolution to apply for the grant, so.
So Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve of the grant writing services as presented from Woods S. Smith and Knowlton for
$5,000 to $6,000.
a range of $5,000, not to exceed $6,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The second one is matching funds. So I'd entertain a motion on what percentage of matching funds, and you say the minimum is 5.
The minimum is 5% to get scored.
Okay.
I don't know, Lake Shore did 8%. I think that's what they finally voted on, if I'm correct.
What did we do last time to get this first round?
We had the combined grant with Lakeshore all in, we were close to a 20% match
Between the two of us.
between the
added
2 of
together.
us. But that counted supplemental grants that we had that went towards that cost. It wasn't just city funds.
Right.
Council, if I could, I would just offer that the next tier for scoring is 10%. So you're looking, I would say you're either looking at 5% or going to 10%, because otherwise, if you went 7, you're not getting any more points. So I just would consider that. And you could even at this point say 5% minimum. If you think that's doable with us to further review that, we can obviously adjust that before when we bring the resolution to you in July.
Well, we're talking somewhere in the tune, if we were to go 10%, $50,000 to $70,000. Is the risk evident of, if we go the minimum at 5%, of not getting this grant? What are the ramifications of that?
They do have more funding this year, but they've also been promoting that they have more funding, so it could be very competitive. It's hard to tell who's all gonna put in. I know applications are already rolling in and we've been in communication with them, so they know that our intent to apply and they're really familiar with our project.
So am I understanding that if we did the minimum, then we might not get very much grant, but if we did 10% or more, whatever, then we get maybe what we're hoping for.
Yeah, there's criteria and you get scored on meeting different criteria. So the more matching funds we have, the more points we get. So we have a higher score and the more likelihood of getting funding.
If we were to go 10%, say tonight. And do we have time to adjust that? Before the grants needs to be,
We're shooting to try and have everything ready to go right around the council meeting in July. So right around July 19th, 20th is when we're looking to have everything ready for submittal. So yes, there's time, not a whole lot.
Is there any money budgeted for this at the 5 or 10%?
no. This isn't a budgeted item.
Yeah, a
Correct.
lot of our park dedication fees and park funds are tied up in our current matching funds, so it's hard to tell. That's a changing amount. So I don't really have a way to predict what that will be in 2024 or 2025. There could be some that could come from there or different park funds, but no, nothing has been determined at this point.
Where would we think that we'd want to take the money from then?
Jenny?
Well, the council could certainly, you could certainly budget for it in the 2024 budget. You could take it from unallocated that we have currently. We have some ARPA funding available, not the full, probably the amount you're looking for, but we could certainly, if you'd like staff to present some options in July as well, we could certainly do that if that's helpful.
If it's 50.
Or combination.
That's gonna be 1.8% levy. 1.7% levy. If we take the remaining ARPA funds, dedicate that to be able to offset to get us to say 10% of $70,000, so we'd still need another 40. Another 35. Floating of probably like 1.25 levy. However, that'll, budgeted for down the road, or you take it on unreserved funds, which honestly would be my vote.
Yeah, I would take it out of unreserved funds.
Keep it easy. So
Because it's a one-off.
I think we're getting very close, to the finish line of this project. I'd like to support Amber and get this thing pushed through. I think
So
a 10% is worthy with adjustment, knowing where we're gonna be at with the overall percentage onto that Fairview. We don't know Fairviews, right? Not yet.
I believe their remaining portion was about 400,000 to 500,000.
Okay.
So, and we'll certainly get a tighter budget on it as we work through some of this to have a better idea of what those estimated costs are. But just wanted you guys to be aware and understand if we were to put in matching dollars, what that dollar amount would be like.
Yeah, I'd say 10% because, if we're doing it and it's gonna cost $5,000 to $6,000 to have it done, we'd just be out that money if we didn't get it also.
Right.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve of the matching funds for the Gull Lake Trail to be at the amount of 10%, not to exceed, with funds being allocated from the general unreserved fund.
I would second that.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Amber.
thank you. Roundabout project change order number 1.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we had to add a 3-foot section for the adjustments of, there are 3 manholes out there in the existing manholes. So during construction, we had to adjust. There's a 9-foot of adjustments on there. We needed another 3-foot section for that. That's what this is for.
Was there not any contingency? Huh? Was there any contingency on this project? Because I thought we gave the ability for change orders to be approved without having to go to council under $10,000.
Oh, I'm not.
Well, I'm not looking at you, I
No,
guess.
We
So,
do.
no,
We
the
do.
contingency question goes to you. I guess,
Yep, council members on, we do, but however, we do still run all change orders through the council just as a matter of documentation with state funding. So that's just why it's here.
oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the change order number 1 as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry. Roundabout pay request number 1.
Yes, we have gotten to the first payment for the roundabout in the amount of $678,393.42. This is the better part, about 50%. Only because the change, the pay app was done on the 9th. 2 weeks ago. So there'll be the last half on the next one. Probably only be three pay applications.
The application period is really from the 20th of March all the way till the 9th.
We haven't paid them because part of this is the trees that were taken down on before March 31st.
Got it.
We did not see it need to go into a.
Say, in my world, his world, that's brutal.
Huh?
I said, in our world, that's brutal.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yes, it is. They get your attention. You get their attention though when you hold back.
Yeah. I don't have any questions.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 1 for the roundabout project. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Bell Lake Trail change order number 3.
I got change order 1. There we go. I'll explain this one. Most of the topsoil in this area is between 4 and 6 inches, 3 to 5 inches. So when we do a calculation on our common excavation, we take into consideration 3 to 5 inches. What happened here was through the trail down Hazelwood Drive and through Lower Roy Lake Road, it was more like 9 to 12 inches, which is not normal. Now, I would ask myself, would you do borings on this to have been able to see that? If we would have done borings that suggested 500 feet across the trail of 5 miles, that would have been $78,000. So with the knowledge we do have, we know we're in a ditch. We did not see it necessary to do borings, especially when we're only doing the top part of the project. This isn't a deep 3-foot road section with, a lot more traffic going on. It's a trail and a ditch. So that was the justification, or I guess that was the site behind that. Had we done the borings, we would have detected this and that would have been on the project. That cost would have already been in.
So is 3 to 5 what you typically would use? I mean, is that what we normally have around here?
Yeah, around here it's and I think Joe can attest to the black dirt around here is thin at best. Black sand.
Hence all the pines,
Huh?
hence all the pine trees.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That will be split with Lakeshore too, by the way.
Is it 50-50?
It's a 50-50.
Yep.
It's a common excavation number, which you're balancing one side with the other, one gets the credit of the common excavation, the other one gets the credit of the trucking.
So I will entertain a motion if there's no further questions for Joe.
I'll make a motion to accept Gull Lake Trail change order number 3 as presented by the city engineer.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Next item is change order number 4.
This change order, number 4 was for guardrail that was impeding the storm sewer down just after Bar Harbor, before the right there at the lake where the right across the street from Bar Harbor, actually. This will go to Lake Shore, not to Nisswa. They won't share.
Mhm. Just a note on number 2, the fee lump sum amount is different than the increase in change order on the bottom. It's different by $5. Not to be anal, but
What? Oh, it was, yes, sure.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 4 for Lakeshore.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Well, concerned I didn't catch that.
I'm here for you, Joe.
Gull Lake Trail pay request number 1.
Yes, I consider this about 30% completion right now. They have done on the paving, so that's obviously a big number on this.
Is that ahead of schedule?
Yes, sir.
By like how much percentage wise, I guess, from what we had?
Schedule?
No, yeah. How ahead of schedule are we?
It's tough to call the schedule because they have, they're working bobbing all over the place because they have to wait for utilities to be moved. There's
Right.
poles that had to be moved. So like over at the Burns property on Hazelwood Drive, we're waiting right now for them to move them. I think they did get them moved. So we'll have to skip over some of them areas and
Yeah.
come back to them with the paving. But obviously until those get moved, we can't do that work. There was quite a bit of things that had to get.
Did Anderson Brothers produce like a level 3 Gantt chart for you for a project schedule? Or have they produced a project schedule?
At the beginning of the project for the pre-con they did, but
They're not maintaining that?
no. I don't see a need for it right now. If I did, I'd ask for it.
Yeah.
I keep in touch with them daily, so I know where we're at with the project. I don't see a problem with the schedule.
Sure.
I think a lot of times you drive by and you see things sitting there waiting because they're between processes.
Right.
But it doesn't mean their schedule's not off.
Right.
It just means that they have to work around things.
Mhm.
There is storm sewer that needs to be put in on that. There were some things down on Casas 77 for Lakeshore that need to be done. Curbing on the side for that the steep hill coming up the boat dock. The retaining wall that they're just about done with that. They wanted to be done with it last Friday, but I think they got some caps they're missing on that.
Okay.
That's right there at the Bar Harbor. The bridge will be coming up. The bridge, it will be a little bit late because of bridge material. We knew that at the beginning of the job. So that would be the one delay we'd have. In the amount of $785,924.03.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 1 in the amount of $785,924.03 for the Gull Lake Trail.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is a resolution for direct property purchase, Porch of Possibilities.
Mr. Mayor, I can take this one for you. This was a final permanent
Yeah, we
easement we
determined
needed
this
to acquire for the Gull Lake Trail. This is Biff Olm is the property owner. We needed, I believe, 195 square feet of additional permanent easement. So I did work with him to obtain that for a cost of $300. And we will process this easement the same as we have done for all of the other ones for the trail project through the city attorney.
So this is the final direct purchase one. Did I hear you right, Jenny?
Yes,
Okay. Then I make a motion that we accept the direct purchase for the city of Nisswa of the, let's see, Porch of Possibilities easement for the sum of $300.
I'll second.
All those, any further discussion on it? Anyone? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Item 12, THC moratorium extension.
this item is coming up quickly for us as the 1 year standard interim ordinance timeframe will be up in August. With the new cannabis legislation, we would like to make sure that those regulations are in place and how the THC components fold into that. And so working with the city attorney, he believes that we can extend the THC interim ordinance until essentially such time as the cannabis regulations are in place. Then we can ensure that the licensing, whatever we're required to do, we can put that in place and have time to do that. So my recommendation to the council is that I would publish the extension of the THC moratorium in the paper and bring to the council in July a public hearing to then essentially take that action to extend it until I think 120 days following the establishment of the licensing process for the statewide cannabis program. I will answer questions if there are any. Otherwise, I'm just looking for a motion to initiate the steps to extend the interim THC ordinance that will come back to you in July.
I just have one question. Are we working on setting up ordinances once the sales will be legal as of the 1st of January 2025 within the city limits of Nisswa? I know we would be able to have one permit, but are we working on any ordinances as to where that would be? And also, I think that's it.
Yes, Councilmember Fraley, yes, we will. We're still waiting for some clarity on what that looks like specifically. And I anticipate over the next couple of months, we will have additional guidance from the league mostly on how to implement those components. But yes, we will ensure that we're moving forward with those items as well, hopefully well before January 2025.
Has the state told us how long we can push this out for?
January 1st, 2025.
That's the deadline.
Yes,
See, as of August 1st of this year, it's legal to smoke it and grow it. They haven't set up how they're going to do the sales. That becomes legal on the 1st January 2025. At that point, you have no say as to whether it can be sold or not. There will be allowed one permit per every 12,500 people. This county can also permit, but municipalities can set up ordinances as to, you know, if I understand correctly, how much the city may charge for the business to be, and also to where it can be located. So that's why I think we need to work on those ordinances.
correct. Zoning districts, things like that, where the types of licenses can be retail, wholesale, those different components. There probably are about a half a dozen different licenses, variables that we may potentially be licensing. But is correct, January 1st, 2025, we will have to have some structure in place.
Structure either which way, so.
Yeah.
I agree to extend this moratorium to be able to provide additional time,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changing elements in this atmosphere that this legislature has been passing down through the state. It's a little bit untraditional for a more traditional state.
Well, I don't know if
think we
anybody,
have-
I don't know if anybody went through the recap of legislative recap. It would behoove you to look at that to see what's all coming down and what's in.
I've seen enough highlights where it is moving already. We have a very small traditional town here. We're a very high tourist spot. We also have some neighbors just to the south that have the population base, and I'm damn sure they're gonna be pushing this through because they can go get their revenue for it. So I would make a motion to extend the THC moratorium as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Old business, nothing, council reports.
Nothing.
I just want to, I don't know, I'm sure everyone was reading them. I did look at looking at the police report. I'd like to congratulate Officer Rooney on completing his master's program.
Yes.
Takes a lot of work, especially when you're working and you're at home and the family. So I want to congratulate Officer Rooney on that. So, and if you haven't noticed, our officers have been on Lower Roy Lake Road a lot.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it a lot. They've done a great job down there, keeping people slowing down. So it's been the radar trailer's working overtime. So thank you guys for that. That's all I have.
I have nothing.
Nope, I have nothing.
On Friday, June 30th, I'm hosting with a handful of other local residents and former residents, golf fundraiser for the Brainerd Warrior Football Association, which is for young men and women from Nisswa area, one of which was a former Nisswa Elementary grad, Brainerd High School grad, Joe Hag. He and I and a handful of others, Brainerd graduates from class of 2011, we have a 144 player golf tournament taking place, second annual. So last year we raised 30 grand. I think we're going to be shooting north of 60,000 this year for the football program, funds in which they do not get from school districts. So invite anybody and everybody to attend the golf tournament, or if you're not interested in golfing, come to the dinner banquet after and get your fill of good food and beer and see a Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
Have nothing.
Okay. With that, I will, announcements and upcoming meeting dates on the bottom. If anyone, just take a look at them. If you, other than that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, guys.